This is a tree. This is another tree. They're 10 centimeters apart. A bumblebee flies from one to the other, and in that instant, something passes between them. It's invisible, but it's information. The tree has something to say, and the bee is its messenger. But how do we know that? Well, we have this crazy idea of what a conversation sounds like. Two people talking, give or take an accent here or there. But if one of them started speaking in Morse code, would you still recognize it as a conversation? What about if they started communicating with smoke signals or chemical markers? You might not hear it or see it, but information is still being exchanged. And that's exactly what these trees are doing. They're passing notes through an underground network of fungi, chemical signals, electrical impulses, even sound. Plants are chatty. They just don't talk the way we do. A bumblebee is drunk with pollen. It crawls onto a leaf and passes out until the plant shakes it off, at which point it crawls onto another leaf and eventually another, until it finds a flower it likes the look of. As it sips sweet nectar, it brushes against the stamen, the plant's male part, and picks up pollen on its furry body. When it moves on, some of that pollen falls off, landing on another plant's pistil, the female part. If conditions are right, it'll produce a fruit, and when that fruit is eaten by an animal, the plant's microscopic seeds get a free ride through the digestive system and a fertilizer deposit at the end. That's great for the plant, but how does the tree know that the bee has made the connection? How does it know that its pollen has successfully fertilized another tree? It can't, not directly. But if a neighboring tree knows and it shares that information, then both trees benefit. Imagine a vast underground network, a kind of internet, where trees and plants exchange messages through electrochemical signals. It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. Plants release chemicals into the air and water, chemicals that tell other plants nearby, "Hey, I'm over here." These chemicals can travel long distances to where a pine forest in one part of the world smells like a pine forest in another part of the world, because the chemicals are the same. When a caterpillar starts munching on a leaf, the plant releases chemicals to warn its neighbors. Within minutes, those neighboring plants start producing defensive chemicals that make them taste bad, so the caterpillars won't eat them. That's a conversation. And it's not just chemicals. Plants can send electrical signals. When a leaf is cut, an electrical impulse passes through the plant, telling it to produce chemicals that seal off the wound. Even the space between cells is important. Some plants open their leaves during the day to grab sunlight and close them at night to stop predators from entering. If the plant next door is already closed, then something might be wrong. Maybe there's a big storm coming or an insect attack, so the first plant might hold on to its leaves a little longer. Even the way plants move is part of the conversation. When vines grow toward a support, they sense the direction of light and gravity to help them climb. But if they touch something solid, they start growing in new directions until they find something they can wrap around. So plants talk about light and gravity, and potential mates, and impending doom. But do they use sound? Well, maybe. There's a lot we don't know about how plants use sound, but we do know that they produce it. Leaves rustle, of course, and so do stems and roots. But a lot of plant sounds are too low or too high for us to hear. We do know that plants can pick up vibrations from nearby, even through the air and the ground. And some scientists think that those vibrations can carry information between plants. It's like a conversation through clenched teeth. Not exactly chit-chat, but you get the idea. Plants communicate in lots of different ways. With all these conversations happening all the time, you'd think there would be some kind of central nervous system to collect and process all this information. But plants don't have a brain. In fact, they don't even have neurons. All these conversations happen at the cellular level. Cells receive messages and respond to them. Sometimes those cells pass the message along, and sometimes they just act on it. Like a lot of conversations. Really, it's a decentralized system that works pretty well. We're just starting to figure out what plants are saying, but as we learn more, we'll find that the conversation isn't just taking place between individual plants and animals. It's happening at the level of ecosystems. Entire communities connected together through conversations that have been going on for hundreds of millions of years. And we're just now learning the language.